Today, Sean Diddy Combs' lawyers are accusing the U.S. government of a, quote, outrageous violation of due process. They're saying that prosecutors obtained Diddy's personal notes from his jail cell. And this accusation comes after the government alleged Diddy is trying to obstruct their investigation. They're saying they used a telephone account of at least 8 inmates to allegedly evade monitoring. They also say that he paid inmates through intermediaries, used three-way calls to reach unapproved contacts, and used a non-authorized third-party system to send hundreds of text messages to dozens of people, including some non-unapproved contact lists. Now, Combs is due in court on Friday, where his lawyers are going to begin arguing for a third time to get him released on bond. I want to bring in Neama Rahmani. He's a former federal prosecutor and the president of West Coast Trial Lawyers. Neama, let's start with these accusations that the government is leveling that Combs is engaged with witness tampering. If true, how bad is this for him, not only for a bond hearing to be released, but also in the long run for trial?
Laura, you nailed it. It almost tanks his chance of getting bond for a third time. And I don't think he had a good chance anyway because he's such a danger to the community. But that's something that was raised during the second bond hearing, the number of times he tried to contact witnesses in the case. And he's already looking at the possibility of a superseding indictment alleging sex trafficking of minors. And if obstruction and witness tampering comes in, that really undercuts the two defenses in the case. First, that the sexual contact was consensual because minors can't consent. And then the jurors will hear all the evidence of Diddy trying to blackmail, bribe, pay off, threaten, intimidate these witnesses. And really, I think that's his only defense here. If they go sideways or they do a 180 at trial and say that, you know what, despite filing these civil lawsuits and making these allegations, it really didn't happen the way I said it did.
And of course, if you're unable to monitor the communications of the inmate as you are permitted to do, you don't necessarily know if he's making statements that are nefarious or benign to witnesses or people not on a contact list. But what course of action then could authorities have to keep him from continuing these behaviors if he's already circumventing the processes?
Well, they can take his phone privileges away entirely. In prison, there is no Fourth Amendment expectation of privacy. Guards can come in and toss your cell at any time. Those phone calls, there's signs, there's recordings, they are always recorded. And we hear time and time again where these jail calls come into evidence. Of course, Diddy is sophisticated. He's allegedly trying to get around these restrictions by using other people's phones, pack numbers that they have in prison, trying to make three-way calls. But that's a no-no. And I think he's getting very close to getting those phone privileges taken away entirely, which will make his defense even more challenging.
And yet, his attorneys, they say that the government violated his due process. They say that they seized personal notes from Combs' jail cells. Prosecutors say the notes were seized in a pre-planned nationwide prison sweep. He believes that's not the case. Did they violate his due process? Do they have an argument to say that they have?
They have an argument, and it's going to really depend on whether prosecutors conducted the raid with a taint team. Sometimes it's called a clean team or a filter team. But whenever someone is represented, what agents are supposed to do is have a second set of officials, whether it's attorneys, whether it's guards, officers, to conduct the raid. That way, if those agents inadvertently run across privileged material, they'll either set it aside or redact it. Basically, they won't be disqualified from the case because we know the attorney-client privilege is the most sacred privilege under the law. So this is something that all prosecutors know. Don't conduct the raid yourself. You don't want to be a witness. So hopefully the U.S. Attorney's Office of the Southern District of New York, probably the most prestigious in the country, followed protocol. And if they did, I think they'll be okay when Judge Subramanian conducts that evidentiary hearing tomorrow.
Well, on Friday, they have a hearing where they're going to request again that release for a third time. Do you feel optimistic on behalf of his counsel that Diddy would be released pending trial?
I don't think so, Laura. If Diddy were released, he would be treated very differently than any other criminal defendant. I mean, these are such serious accusations, allegations of racketeering, sex trafficking, and we're just getting more evidence that's come out. Obviously, the video that CNN found, we saw the text messages related to that video that came out in the prosecution's filing. So, of course, we saw the video of Diddy allegedly beating or seemingly beating Cassie Ventura at the Intercontinental Hotel in 2016. But in the prosecution's filing, we're seeing the text messages that Cassie sent Diddy related to that beating. And this is all coming out. And obviously, during the second bail hearing, we saw that Diddy tried to contact a witness dozens of times. And now apparently he tried to call a witness than 100 times. So this is not getting better for Diddy. It's only getting worse when it comes to bail.